Okay, we were discussing about different categories of animals, and especially we were discussing about different categories of invertebrates. Different categories of invertebrate, and under that Cnidaria or Nidaria or Cnidaria. So we just discussed about that category where most of them are like they are basically predators, depend on other insects, other animals, and especially like small insects. But they are also taking some single cell or unicellular or multicellular plants. So the floating plants in the water, mostly they will take anyway other animals like small animals as the food that is their nutrition source. And Nidarians basically they are they are having symmetrical bodies. Symmetrical means like, so if you cut this down, or if you cut this side horizontally or vertically, you can see similar shapes. So we call that symmetrical. So let's take a cylinder. Cylinder is a symmetrical shape. If you cut this horizontally or vertically, similar parts will be there. So that is called symmetrical. So here, this Cnidarian, they are also having this symmetrical shape body. And like if the body of animal can be divided into two equal halves along the several axes, we call it radially symmetrical animal. Radially symmetrical, that means several, so you can here cut this into two parts, several from the, like this is y-axis, so still it divides into two. If you cut this through this x-axis, or let's say, so let's think as a cake. If you cut this, you can get similar shape parts. So that is called radially symmetrical. So this Cnidarians are also radially symmetrical. And there are two categories. I said that. So some are attached to some surfaces. So basically polyps. So you know, these polyps, sometimes they are attached to seashells. These polyps in ocean. So basically they are in these corals, right? Here you can see these polyps, they are attached to corals. So sometimes some other surfaces, but mainly corals. So they just in one place, they are moving, but they are not they are not showing locomotion. Locomotion means moving one place to another place that you cannot see. So that is the polyp. But the other shape, medusa shape. So the medusa shape is basically floating. Medusas are basically they are okay, this is not medusa, I know, right? You can see jellyfish like organisms, they are floating, right? They are floating in the ocean. Okay, Sanidhi, we just discussed small part, the same thing, right? So I will give you the recording, don't worry. So I had the power issue. Unfortunately, I'm not affected, but the thing is like, so I'm using my backup power system, but today I think there is a serious issue of signals. So it's dropping time to time. So it's very difficult to continue. That's why I had to disconnect and rejoin after some time. Right, let's continue. Then you couldn't see this, right? I just want to show this. Can you see this now? So this is what medusa, basically this jellyfish. So they can float in the ocean. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then the polyps, basically polyps are attached to polyps. If you take polyps, so they are attached to corals and some other surfaces. They are not moving. They are moving, but they are not locomoting. They are not changing the location. So you can see this is a coral in the deep sea, and there are some polyps. Anyway, both polyps and medusa shapes, medusa and polyp both are actually they are kind of predators. They are taking food by like eating insects, small animals or small fishes. They are taking food as the food source. Sometimes they are rarely taking this floating plants in the ocean or the floating organisms. So don't think that this fish is actually eaten by this is polyp, but so there is a relationship. This is called like sea anemone and clownfish. So you can just say, just search this, you will get the video in YouTube.
Do you have a habitat in them?
Yeah. Sea anemone and clownfish. So this is actually, they have symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic relationship means like both are depending, both are actually not depending, both can live independently. But when living in the ocean, basically, so they help each other. So they don't have any other relationship, but that is called like mutualism or symbiotic relationship or mutualism. So that is basically sea anemone, like here you can see the polyps and the this flower shaped bird. It's actually protecting this clownfish from their or from its enemies. It's a shelter. In the other hand, clownfish help cleaning the sea anemone. So like there are some like weak what you call weak body parts. So sea anemone, or weak or maybe dead body parts, sea anemone is clearing that by like removing that from the sea anemone. So clownfish is helping. The other hand, clown is a shell. The shape is a shelter to clownfish to protect from its enemies. So both parties helping each other, but both can survive independently without each other's help. So that is also there. දෙන්නටම දෙන්නගේ help නැතුව ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්. දෙන්නම independent. මෙයා නැතුව මෙයාට ජීවත් වෙන්න බෑ කියලා දෙයක් නෑ. Both can live independently, but the thing is, when they live together, they will help each other. That is called mutualistic relationship or symbiotic relationship, or sometimes called mutualism. So there is a nice video. You can just go and search. But since this is like we have taken more time in the previous session for the reconnect and disconnecting issues, I am not going to show. So you can just watch the video. It is available in the YouTube. Just search sea anemone and clownfish. Then you can find this symbolic relationship. Nice videos are there in the YouTube. Let's move back to the next part. That is where so here, so you can see the medusa shape, this organism, medusa, or the polyp, or polyps are not moving, medusas are moving, free floating organisms. They cripple small creatures with their special tentacles having nidocytes and use them as a food. So actually nidocytes, this is kind of the, like, let's think like this. So there is special chemical, they are releasing special chemical and they try to cripple. Cripple means like, what do you call? It's like sedating. It's like sedating, you know, when we sometimes in the operations, the doctors used to sedate us. Doctors used to sedate us. Or maybe so that is called triple, right? They triple small creatures with their special tentacles. Here, these are the tentacles. You can see this. මේ වගෙන් යාලා පොඩි chemical එකක් issue කරනවා. ඒ වගෙන් අර කොල්ලන්ව මේ නිකන් අර මත් කරනවා වගේ අඩපණ කරලා දානවා. ඒ chemical එක හින්දා then they use them as a food. I think so similar thing.
So it is like a venom.
Sorry.
It is a poisonous substance.
Kind of poisonous, but it is not actually killing. Instead of that, it's like make actually slow down and maybe giving a dizzy feeling, dizziness like. Yes.
But jellyfish are poisonous.
Yes. So there are some videos. I also saw that the jellyfish it's like poisoning. So this chemical, sometimes some animals will get that as a poison in one. Some are ready, they are adapted, but some are not. It's even poisons to us as well, humans. Right. Okay. Here, as you can see the coral polyps. So we just saw that image in the internet. So they actually they help draw in these coral reefs. Actually, coral reefs are really important because it is protecting our coastal area. So, and it's beautiful, and it's also an ecosystem which shelter a lot of animals. It's a There's a big diversity. If you have done diving into the ocean, so I think that is available now, right? Even kids can dive. So some hotels or some like leisure gardens which is closer to these oceans and all ocean related things, these people they provide this diving thing, right? You can just go and dive into the sea, so no need to actually swim. They will give oxygen and all these things, and you can just dive into and see this in your naked eye. So that is important if you can do that. So it's really nice. So there are a lot of animals living around these coral reefs, and they are also protecting our coastal area, right? Because otherwise, if it is not there, then this waves will come and hit in the Earth's face directly, and it used to. So maybe like the coastal area will be reduced gradually if coral reefs are not there. Even in the tsunami, there was a positive, like in the coastal area, if there are more corals, it used to it's used to reduce the effect of tsunami. But due to tsunami, also some coastal areas destroyed, and even so due to some man activities related to fishing and other like oils and other things, these corals are destroyed. So these are very important to us as an ecosystem. Okay, that is about Nidaria or Nidaria. So the next one is Annelida. This Annelida basically earthworm, leech, nails, nares, and these are basically kind of Annelida. So so you can see the creeping feature. So they used to creep, or they are in the Earth's surface. Actually, we know there are three spheres in the Earth: atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. So in Annelida, you can observe them in the lithosphere. And sometimes some Annelida variants are there in the hydrosphere as well. I think you have heard of. There are some Annelida, they are living in the hydrosphere, but mostly they are in the lithosphere. Lithosphere means Earth's surface. This annelid lives both marine and freshwater environment. Here, freshwater environments, right? No need to be inside the water. So here you can see the previous one we discussed. So it was there in the water, no, but here it's a water environment. No need to be in the water. But anyway, some like environment with some moisture or wet terrestrial, and here you can see wet terrestrial environments. That is lithosphere. Lithosphere, but wet areas. Earthworm, leech, nares are some examples for annelids. So that is those. Actually, you can see this as a backbone, but it is not. So you can see, but there are a lot of these are used for movement, right? Here they are using their skin, and this is adapted for the movement. Okay, so then common features. So body is bilaterally symmetrical. The previous one we learned the body is radially symmetrical. Radially symmetrical, but here you can see it's a bilaterally symmetrical. That means if body of an animal can be divided into two equal halves along one axis, we can call it bilateral. It's only one axis, right? So symmetric around one axis, but here symmetric radially. radially symmetric. Cylinder radially symmetric, but here you can see it's a bilateral symmetricness. So there are vermiforms, like worm-like bodies. Worm-like bodies are there. So looks like worm, but not worm. Worm is another category. So earthworm is, like you can say earthworm is a worm, and leech is but anyway, it's worm-like vermiform body. And body is divided into segments. So therefore it's called segmented. You can see here these parts are called segments. So body is divided in segments, so you call them segmented worms. Segmented worms. And so you can see their movement style. Right, when you observe the movement style, you can see they are also similar to the snakes, python. They are also, but like not faster as them. So they are also creepy. Right? So let's write down this later. So since time is up, I'm going to discuss this quickly. I'll discuss 4 categories and stop, right? Because I have taken more than the promised time. Then the mollusca. Okay, what are the first 2 categories we learned? Yes, you can remember these. Sometimes these words are new to you. That's why I want you to write down. Cnidaria and Annelida. Cnidaria or Cnidaria. Cnidaria, Cnidaria, so you can just, anyway, C is silent. And the second category is Annelida. So they are in the freshwater environment or the marine water or wet terrestrial environment. Worm-like or vermiform bodies. Mollusca, right? Mollusca, molluscas actually they are living in the terrestrial, marine, again freshwater environment. Similar to this, right? You can see here also it can live in freshwater, marine, or wet terrestrial. Similar to that here also. So no need to be wet, but terrestrial. So wet is better actually. If it is wet is better, wet terrestrial or terrestrial, marine, freshwater environment. Snail, bivalve, chiton and slug, cuttlefish, octopus. So these are some examples for molluscs. Right, mollusca actually they are having kind of bilateral symmetrical body, bilateral symmetrically. So it's not radially symmetrical, it's bilateral symmetricalness. And bilateralness, if you divide this axis, right, if you divide this into horizontal axis, you can see the bilateral symmetricness of the animal. It's bilateral symmetric. Snail, bivalve, octopus are the examples, right? And they have soft bodies, but sometimes you can see a shell here. So sometimes the soft body only, because in the initially, I think you have seen the small snails. They are not having this shell. Right? Shell is actually a way of, like, it's a security mechanism. Because their body is fragile, highly fragile. No? So unlike our body, our body is a little bit actually hard. We can somewhat tolerate the power or external or physical things. But the thing is, this mollusca, their bodies are really soft. So they need kind of protection. That's why they have this shell. Right? So basically they are they're having a muscular food. It's a food, but the food is, it's like, so it's also like a soft flesh. It's also a muscular. And they are having actually their skin is wet, so it's moisture. It's a wet skin, and actually not all, but some bear the shells. That's why I said some bear the shells, but not all. Especially if they are terrestrial. ගොඩබිම ඉන්නවා නම් එතකොට තමයි ෂෙල් එක ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි මුහුදේ ඉන්න සමහරොගෙත් ෂෙල් එකක් තියෙනවා මේ තියෙන්නේ. සිප්පි කටු වගේ අපි එකතු කරගන්න ඕනේ නේද? මුහුදේ ඉන්න අයගෙත් ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙත් ෂෙල් තියෙනවා. ගොඩාක්ම අර ගොඩබිම ඉන්න අයට තමයි ෂෙල් ඕන වෙන්නේ. මුහුදේ ඉන්න අයට ෂෙල් ඕන වෙන්නේ එයාලගේ enemies ලගේ. So they, if they want to protect from their enemies, they are using this shell. But octopus, they are basically, it's not, they are not having that kind of shell. So either they have shells or it can. Then the most, like this is kind of highly spreaded variant, Arthropoda. So I think the population is, let's see, so I didn't saw this recently. Let me check this. Arthropoda population. This is, I think, the highest population, right? Arthropoda population. So no idea about the figure currently because I didn't search, but it's having like species.
They can be in almost all the environment conditions.
Yeah, almost all the environment. They are spread almost all the environment. It can be like ocean, can be a surface or terrestrial, non-terrestrial, can be atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, everywhere, right? It's everywhere. And you can see the number of variants even. The variance is basically between 1 to 10 million, right? So actually you can see account for over 80% of the all non-living animal species. So just imagine, right? Estimate of the number of arthropods species vary between 1.1 million and 5 to 10 million and account for over 80% of all non-living animals. 80% of the all, that is the highest. 80% of the non-animals means I kill the amount, right? That is the amount. So they are actually, so that's why even so personally I don't like them much because they're everywhere in every place. Actually most are not harmful, but the thing is it's like their spreading is really high. And so here just give me one. So they are living in the terrestrial, aquatic, everywhere, right? So basically highest number of animals belongs. So you saw that 80%. Insects, spiders, scorpions, millipedes, centipedes, prawns, crabs, all are belong to that. So they are also not having, they are also invertebrates, right? Even though they looks like vertebrates, but they're not having a backbone. They are invertebrates, butterfly, scorpion, centipede, and millipedes, prawns, all belongs to that. And they are having, so have you seen this? How they see the world is wonderful, right? This is, so let me show this. Even though they are having eyes, these eyes are not like our eyes, right? If you just see view that insect can see from their eye is like they are having this kind of, so see their eye complex. This is called bug eye, right? Bug eye view. Even in the digital cameras we can, so see it's not two eyes, it's like, okay, this is called bug eye view. Actually this is also not the proper, you can see this is the structure and this is a closer view, right? It is not two eyes like us, It is a complex. Right? So view is basically how they can see. I saw one picture, but I cannot find that now. This is how we can see their eyes. Ne? There was one picture showing how these insects or how these arthropoda variants can see us. So that is really, really amazing. Like I will find that image and show you, but you also try to find it. So it is not a normal eyes like us. So their body possesses an external skeleton we call exoskeleton. So it is, so in our body we have internal skeleton. අපේ ඇටසැකිල්ල තියෙන ඇතුලේ. හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඒ ස්කෙලටන් එක තියෙන්නේ එළියේ. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අර හයිය එක තියෙන්නේ ඇතුලේ නෙවෙයි, ඇඟ ඇතුලේ නෙවෙයි, ඇඟින් එළියේ. But in our case we can see our skeleton is inside our body. It is covered by the skin and flesh. So some species having wings, some are having seasonal wings, like when they like you can see the butterfly having wings in some phase of its life cycle, but in the earlier phase it's just a worm, but it will gradually become a butterfly. So do the insects like ants. They are also getting wings, but not in the early stage, but in the later stage of the life cycle. So it is extremely segmented body, extremely, a lot of parts in its body. It's extremely, and all arthropods have jointed appendages. But all arthropods are having. So what are the appendages? Here, jointed appendages. Appendages means, what is that? Yes, appendages. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Appendages means like you know,
Body parts.
They are normally අපේ අර අත් කකුල් තියෙන්නේ සන්ධි වලින් හන්දි වලින් හැදිච්ච අත් කකුල් අපේ තියෙන්නේ කෑලි 2යි 3යි. හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන්නේ this jointed appendages. අපි කියන සන්ධි පාදකයන් කියලා. කෑලි එකතු වෙලා හැදිච්ච මේ අතපය කකුල් වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. We call that in Sinhala සන්ධි පාදකය. Okay, so that is about the invertebrates, right? So sorry, I wanted this to be interactive today, but unfortunately due to this connection issues and all, I couldn't do that much of interactive way. So I just went through the note and explained that. So let me show some videos related and also visuals related to this, and also I'll find that image and show you how they can see the world. So that will actually, I need to do that in the next week, I guess, if these issues will not there. So I think we can do that in the next week. So let me stop from here, then good night. See you all next week.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Night.